Search is on for the vandals who covered subway cars top to bottom with graffiti. The transit workers group Progressive Action tweeted out these photos of the graffiti. The MTA tells us someone spray painted colorful messages on 11 train cars at Jamaica Yard in Queens. Vandalism comes at a time when officials report the number of subway graffiti incidents have fallen after 5 years of rising.
It was just 1 week ago that the MTA told us a subway train that had been painted with graffiti was an isolated incident. But today we learned vandals have been able to get access to many more trains. So who's patrolling underground and in the train yards?
It's happened again. A subway train has turned into this, with top-to-bottom, end-to-end vandalism. This E-train, so freshly painted it was still wet, was discovered early Wednesday near World Trade Center, brought here to Jamaica, Queens, for a cleaning that will take days and cost thousands of dollars. Riders notice this is not the first time, causing them to wonder who is getting so close, and is it becoming the paint-splattered 1970s or 80s all over again?
Definitely don't want the times to come back to that.
The Metropolitan Transportation Authority is investigating, telling us vandals trespassed deep inside a tunnel between stations to a so-called layup area where trains can be left overnight in areas dark with few, if any, cameras and where patrols are not guaranteed.
Patrol. We should have patrols.
The MTA told us it is the NYPD's responsibility anywhere on tracks between the stations. But when we reached out to police demanding to know how vandals manage the time and access to do this, we're told only that there are no arrests yet and questions about security protocols must be answered by the MTA.
On the internet, there are some messages that indicate this may be sparked by the deaths of 2 legendary graffiti artists.
Oh, it's awesome. It's awesome. It looks cool.
Well, the MTA doesn't think it's awesome because it costs tens of thousands to clean.
A police pursuit in the Bronx ended with an 18-year-old suspect shot several times and in critical condition after he allegedly fired off 3 shots at NYPD officers with this semi-automatic handgun during an arrest.
The 3 officers observed 2 men spray painting graffiti. The officers stopped their vehicle and approached the individuals, who both fled on foot. As the officer struggled with the man in an attempt to arrest him, the subject pulled out a semi-automatic handgun and fired at least 3 rounds at the officers.
The 3 NYPD officers returned fire, the hail of bullets breaking apart that gun.
Well, it started with graffiti, Shannon, and it ended in gunfire. They spotted 2 men spray painting graffiti on a storefront, and police are still searching for that second suspect who fled on foot.
Whether they are stopping someone who is making graffiti or responding to a known shooting, there are just way too many guns out on the streets nowadays.
Those 3 officers were in uniform and on patrol near 3rd Avenue and 153rd Street early this morning when they saw 2 suspects spray painting graffiti on a storefront a few blocks down this road. And this is another look at that gun that was recovered and used by the suspect. You can see it is in pieces, shattered by the exchange of gunfire. They are still searching for that second suspect.
A surge in gun violence isn't the only sign New York is returning to the good old bad days. The bad old days, pardon. Graffiti is popping up all over the city, and Mayor de Blasio has decided not to spend money to fix it. CBS 2 political reporter Marcia Kramer live in Harlem with the latest. Marcia.
Well, Dana, if you've been wondering why the city's a whole lot more colorful and not in a good way, well, it's because the budget for removing graffiti has disappeared. And not everybody's happy about it. In a depressing sign of the times, a return to the bad old days of the 70s and 80s, graffiti has been popping up all over the city, on storefronts, buildings, construction barricades, the Fairway sign on the West Side Highway.
The city has zeroed out the budget for graffiti removal citywide. This is a problem, and it means that the graffiti is only going to get worse.
And that's not all. CBS 2 has learned that 311 is no longer taking graffiti complaints. The 311 website says the graffiti-free NYC graffiti removal program for residential and commercial buildings has been suspended indefinitely.
It's horrible. I mean, it's a disgrace.
At least 24 subway cars were vandalized with graffiti, and the NYPD is now searching for the vandals who managed to get away with the huge paint jobs. CBS 2's Hazel Sanchez has the details.
It was a busy weekend for vandals elaborately painting graffiti on subway trains. Writer Francisco Otero says he's fed up.
It's not fair for the people, you know, because they make the places ugly.
The MTA says sometime in the overnight hours, 24 subway cars being stored in layover tunnels were painted with graffiti, including cars from the Q, G, M, 1, and 6 lines and the 42nd Street shuttle. These clearly weren't simple tags. Otero says he wants to know how the vandals can paint for hours without getting caught by police.
They're not doing nothing about it. That's the problem.
The MTA says 83% of the subway graffiti hits happen in underground tunnels where trains are laid up overnight or on in-service trains.
I think a lot of this is obviously about the train yards. If there's anything we can do to help them secure those yards better, absolutely. That will be something that we'll focus on.
The MTA says it costs thousands of dollars to remove the graffiti. Riders are worried they could foot the bill in the long run through higher fares. It has a zero-tolerance policy for vandalism, which takes valuable time, resources, and taxpayer dollars away from the system.
A warning from Governor Cuomo to New York City Hall. The governor says the graffiti has got to go if you want New York City to come back. CBS 2 political reporter Marcia Kramer with the story tonight.
Governor Cuomo has a message for his frenemy Mayor de Blasio, and he didn't spray paint it on Gracie Mansion or any of the other buildings around New York City where graffiti is springing up all too frequently.
Get the graffiti off the building. Detergent, power washer, brush, get the graffiti off the building. I'm telling the mayor, the cleaning up the city is important. You have a lot of negativity in the air now. Positive, progress, move forward. Graffiti sounds like a little thing. It's another sign of decay.
A subway car covered from end to end in graffiti. It's a cool sight, a throwback to some, but how did the vandals get the time and access to this train?
A devastating video of an F train defaced from one end to the other, top to bottom, doors, windows, everything covered in graffiti. The video was tweeted by the Police Benevolent Association, comparing it to the bad old days of the 70s and 80s when graffiti vandals covered the trains with their tags. The union called it a true sign of decay, one that we worked so hard to eradicate decades ago. The taggers had plenty of time to cover this entire train because they know there are no more consequences. Hashtag back to the future. The F train was found over the weekend while out of service on a side track at the Church Avenue station in Brooklyn, even though a sign warns do not enter or cross track.
When a train rolls out and looks like this, it gets attention and gets cleaned. The New York City Police Benevolent Association tweeted this video of a train at Church Avenue in Brooklyn. Quote, major graffiti incidents are extremely rare today, thanks to strong deterrence measures by both the New York City Transit Department of Security and the NYPD.
I do think it's a problem that we don't have enough presence actually on the trains.
You know, look at that. Look at that graffiti. That vandal put up that message. Anarchy. I'm going up there and I'm painting that over. Can you imagine we allow that? Cops have to go up and down and look at that? I'm going to undo the vandalization and paint it white.
Graffiti. We are seeing an ugly rise, cropping up on houses, storefronts, sidewalks, and even government buildings. When graffiti tags are spray painted onto public and private property, it is not art. Graffiti is vandalism, and it's against the law. Ignoring blatant defacements and other quality of life violations only allows them to grow and spread like a cancer. Graffiti is an eyesore. It costs home and business owners hundreds of thousands of dollars and tremendous efforts to erase it. We simply cannot go back to the days in the 1970s and 80s when the graffiti assault was the norm.
Cleanup is now underway at the Gray Lady Oyster Bar on Manhattan's Lower East Side.
the tagger caught on camera, spray painting away back in the beginning of February. Today, Police Commissioner Shea and other NYPD top brass announced a new graffiti removal initiative on a block that desperately needs help.
You tell us where we need to clean, and let's do it together.
The department says you can email them and request graffiti cleaning. Then on April 10th, cadets, auxiliary officers, and community members will come together to get the job done. The NYPD citing more than 6,000 vandalism complaints last year. Chief of Community Affairs Jeffrey Madry excited for the work to begin.
This is going to be a tremendous effort of cops and community working together.
The program is set to continue on after next month's kickoff, giving hope to those who need it most. Justine Miller, News 12.
The NYPD is launching a new campaign to combat a huge increase in graffiti across the city, but there's no money for it. So the city is asking for New Yorkers for help. CBS 2's Andrea Grimes live on the Upper East Side to tell us what the NYPD needs. Andrea?
Well, Dana, the NYPD says last year they got more than 6,000 complaints about graffiti, either with paint or etchings with some type of object. While police say they are dealing with a spike in shootings in the city, they're also dealing with a spike in graffiti. Drive around the 5 boroughs of New York City and you'll easily spot it. Graffiti everywhere, from Manhattan to Long Island City, Queens, to this near Yankee Stadium in the Bronx. Surveillance video caught at least one of the vandals last month. Police Commissioner Dermot Shea says he's noticed a spike in graffiti.
New York City needs a little sprucing up here today, so that's exactly what we aim to do.
The NYPD has announced a new graffiti cleanup campaign kicking off Saturday, April 10th with a citywide cleanup day.
We're asking for help from community business leaders, just anyone that's here in New York City, whether you live here or do business here. Come out and help us on April 10th.
Last summer, CBS 2 reported there is no money in the city's budget for graffiti cleanup, but Governor Cuomo warned the tags need to go if the city expects to recover. The commissioner says they've been planning this campaign for months. While many are happy to hear about the program, others believe the graffiti should stay put.
I love it. It brings back the early 80s and 90s of New York.
The NYPD says they're also trying to prevent graffiti from happening in the first place, especially with their Vandals task force team.
NYPD expanding its community policing program to help fight graffiti.
It has become a growing problem across the 5 boroughs since we went into lockdown, and Sharon Crowley shows us how officers are going to roll up their sleeves to help clean things up.
I think it looks disgusting in our neighborhoods. It makes it look run down.
These Brooklyn residents fed up with graffiti in their neighborhood.
It's terrible, man. We want to get rid of it.
Let New York City look like it used to be, clean.
Lucky for them, the New York City Police Commissioner feels the same way.
When you look around,
Commissioner Dermot Shea announcing the department's new initiative in front of graffiti on the Lower East Side. His plan calls for a one-day cleanup of graffiti on New York City streets.
It's been a tough year. This is about moving forward. It's about the recovery. It's about coming out together, cleaning up, and you know, that's the big statement we want to make.
On Saturday, April 10th, police officers, community leaders, and volunteers will spend the day painting over graffiti in neighborhoods all over the city.
We're going to clean up a lot of this graffiti that's really just all over the neighborhood and making it look bad.
This initiative, they hope, will not just make New York streets look better, but might even make New Yorkers feel better.
If a neighborhood is clean, you look good, you feel good, and you'll do better in your neighborhood.
And this is just only the beginning. We'll be doing this all summer long, maybe not on this scale, but we'll be hitting different communities. Police commissioner or a few community people are going to take the first role, and then we're going to clean this wall up.
The NYPD hit the streets today to kick off a new campaign to combat a big rise in graffiti. The cleanup involves off-duty officers, volunteers, and a whole lot of paint. CBSN New York's Dave Carlin has more.
Getting a big job rolling was NYPD Commissioner Dermot Shea, taking what was a graffiti-covered supermarket building in Bushwick from marred and marked up to bright and bare. Dozens of volunteer painters included officers on their own time here, and hundreds more dispatched all across the city. The city gets thousands of community complaints about graffiti every year. On this NYPD map, the dots are on 537 locations, publicly and privately owned, that members of 300 teams responded to on Saturday.
This is community and police working together, and starting today and every day, this is the way Bushwick has to be.
Spreading so much more than paint, this fosters togetherness to spread trust.
But it's a time to start rolling up our sleeves, getting to it.
Rolling up their sleeves indeed. New Yorkers big and small dipped their rollers in fresh paint and took turns painting this once graffiti-filled wall. NYPD Chief of Community Affairs Jeffrey Madry says showing up united and making relationships is what this event was all about. And it'll be happening all throughout the 5 boroughs as a part of an NYPD community-wide cleanup effort.
A lot of work to do, a lot of graffiti to clean up.
Members of New York's finest and Brooklynites in the Bushwick community today standing side by side, working to give neighborhoods a new glow. This cleanup effort is going to be taking place all summer long.
Graffiti, now a growing problem in Soho. The neighborhood's been the target of vandals in recent weeks.
It looks like they take the taggers off. Next week they come back, spray it again.
Stevens said he hadn't noticed more Soho graffiti than usual, but also admitted under his definition of a lot of taggings, he'd filed away memories of this city during the 1970s, when graffiti was everywhere. And he welcomed any efforts by the state, the city, or nonprofit groups to remove it.
It is a sign of neglect, a sign of things out of hand. Quality of life is very important.
You're going to see a big impact from the Cleanup Corps. They're going to be out there. They're hiring up as we speak.
The NYPD told Fox 5 its first precinct cleaned up Soho graffiti in both April and May as part of a department initiative in response to fielding 6,000 graffiti complaints in 2020.
To be honest, I do like graffiti artists in general, but if it's just tags or, random swatches, it doesn't actually add to anything.